What's up guys, I'm Phoenix Master 1 and welcome back for some more Fire Emblem Heroes. And in this video I'm going to be giving you guys a review of Legendary Roy's banner, which is coming out tomorrow. And we did know about him from the Google Play Store leak, so it was confirmed. And he is a Fire Legendary Hero, of course, but his boost isn't really all that clear. It has got like 2 lightning symbols on it, which doesn't really tell us much. It honestly looks like the Twitter moment symbol to me, or some kind of road sign. So yeah, it's really ambiguous. We don't really know what it does. Maybe it's something new. So I guess they're going to be extending the legendary heroes, because a lot of people were thinking that we would only get up to like 16 legendary heroes and then they will continue on with the mythic heroes, but that's clearly not the case because we've got this new type of boost and there's definitely going to be like 3 other units for the other elements in this category. So he's a sword infantry unit. Obviously Roy doesn't really have many options for that. He has got Dragon Bind as his weapon, which is effective on dragon units, and it has got distant counter built into it. So it is definitely reminiscent of Binding Blade from his original game, because that weapon was absolutely busted. And it did have, I guess, 1 to 2 range, so that's why they've got distant counter. So his weapon being effective on dragons and having distant counter is definitely amazing, and does leave some kind of hope for the other distant counter weapon units like Ryoma, Normal Ike, stuff like that, Camus, Xander. So if they can get weapon refines on their distant counter weapon, that would definitely make them more relevant, because a lot of them have just faded into obscurity at this point. So he has got bonus doubler 3 as a new skill, and this pretty much works like Exalted Falchions effect. So it is going to be giving you in combat buffs to your stats during the combat, depending on the visible buffs that unit has. So if you're getting a Hun attack buff, which is +4 attack, then this skill will make it +8 attack. +4 is going to be visible, and the other +4 is going to be during the combat. So this is a very strong skill, and this is really nice in combination with units like Legendary Azura, of course, Performing Arts Azura, and also Flying Olivia. And this is a fantastic skill to put on Legendary Marth, because his Exalted Falchion already has this effect. So that actually stacks up with his Exalted Falchion, so that is absolutely insane. And it also works with Erika and also the newly released Fox Cavalry unit, Kaden. So this is a really powerful skill, but the thing is that it does come at the opportunity cost of missing out on a breath skill for an enemy phase unit, or missing out on something like distant counter. So it is used really well by units who already have a distant counter weapon, kind of like Roy. And if this was a Sacred Seal, it would be absolutely busted. So the direct counter to this is Panic Ploy, because Panic Ploy turns all of your bonuses into penalties. So you're not going to be having any kind of buff. So you're not going to be having anything in the combat because you have no buffs because of Panic Ploy. And even though they've got like a Panic Ploy debuff, they're not going to be getting the negative stats. So at least this skill is not going to be working against you. I did try to explain this in my Legendary Marths review when it came out, but I didn't really explain it all that much. So a lot of people were having a bit of confusion and were like misunderstanding what I said at that time. So I just wanted to clear that up with the panic status and how this will function with that. So this is directly countered by Panic. And as I said, this is a really good skill on Legendary Marth, Erika, and Kaden because of how their weapons function. So they can stack this up and be extremely powerful. And you've got Renewal. It's kind of like the other effect of Binding Blade. They couldn't really fit this in, I guess, into his weapon. So they just have this as a slot B skill. Obviously something like Vantage is going to be much more useful to him, because he could have pretty high attack with his slot A skill, and he already has distant counter. Guard and Wrath are also a pretty good option, and also Null Follow Up, I guess. And he has got Human Virtue as a slot C skill. This is his exclusive skill, so at start of turn, if the unit is adjacent to any allies that are not beast or dragon allies, then it gives him +6 attack and +6 speed, and also those allies that same buff for 1 turn. So it's pretty much joint hone humans if you really think about it. So yeah, none of those boosts are going to be for those subhumans. I cannot wait to make a racist Emblem team with Roy, Shinon, and Jill. But like, this is a pretty nice reference actually to one of his lines from Binding Blade when he faces against Zephiel, and that line is also present in Fire Emblem Heroes on normal Roy. I remember because I made that theme battle with Roy versus Zephiel. So this is actually a reference to that, because Roy says something like he believes in the mankind or something like that. So that's why he's got the skill. It would be really cool if Zephiel had some kind of exclusive skill which was a counterpart to this, which would just give like +6 defense and +6 resistance. and its name was like Dragon Virtue because of how he thinks. But poor Zephiel doesn't even have like distant counter built into his weapon, so that's kind of shame. So Roy is going to be a pretty nice unit. He is an infantry red unit. There are a lot of those. So it's definitely going to be hard for him to stand out, but because he's got a distant counter dragon effective weapon with this kind of joint buff skill, it's going to be pretty nice for him. So we do see 39 HP on Roy, and he has got this sick animation. I really like this. And he's going to be destroying this dragon with that Dragon Fang. So he's going to be doing 31 points of additional damage from his Dragon Fang, which means that he has got 62 attack. So he probably has this buff from his own skill, Human Virtue. So he probably has that, and also has the slotty skill. So he's got like plus 12 attack. Now, these units on these trailers may or may not have these kinds of buffs. I don't really think it's consistent. And if you subtract that, then he ends up at 50 attack. So he has got 34 base attack, which isn't really very high for dragon slaying, but it's decent. And I expect him to have like really high speed, because high speed with a distant counter unit is going to be fantastic. And he's probably going to be having like 30 defense and 26 resistance. Balanced stat line overall. And he's going to be having 168 or 167 BST, because the 3rd gen BST is here on infantry units, at least as we saw from Keaton and Valuria. So he's going to be having that BST. That's Roy for you, Legendary Roy. Cannot wait to make a Roy Emblem showcase, even though I'm going to be having like 3 red Roys, but I'm still going to do it. Yeah, he's looking like a pretty strong unit, but we'll have to see what his stats turn out to be. So let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree with the stat speculation, and how do you feel about Legendary Roy, and if we're going to be summoning for him or not. So let us begin with the review of the units on this banner. So the first one is Gunnthra. Gunnthra is a pretty powerful horse cavalier with that Blizzard Tome, and because we have got so many skills now in the game which can debuff, like a Versa's Knight of course, and also having Sabotage Attack and those kinds of skills which are going to be coming up in future, and chill skills, ploys as seals and stuff like that. So Gunnthra can pretty easily get the extra damage with those debuffs with her Blizzard Tome. And in Ether Raids, of course, you could have a Versa as her teammate, and that would be fantastic. Not to mention, you also have the schools, which you could take advantage of if you're using Gunnthra, but they're not really all that good. I mean, they can be good if they are like a bonus structure and you've got a nice Gunnthra. Gunnthra skills are pretty bad for like foddering. Resploy is decent, I guess, because it's the like most rare skill. We don't really have any kind of grandeur battle unit with that skill. Like we have Sweet Ploy with Sias, Defense Ploy with Arvis, and Attack Ploy with Julius. So in that case, I guess it can be valuable. Fortress Res is a dead meme. You have Fortress Defense Res on Cliff, which is superior in every way. And then we've got Legendary Ephraim. Legendary Ephraim is a monster and the best Lance Cavalier in the game. So he's got Flame Segment, and the biggest power of this is that Ephraim does not depend on his speed to double, and that means that he can run him in Ether Raids as a Gale Force Cavalier. Is extremely potent, and you could even have like Heavy Blade slot skill on him from Jamka, because he already has like 55 attack without having any kind of attack boosting slot skill, and have Quick on Pulse and have a 4-turn cooldown Gale Force. So that can be pretty nice on Ephraim. And in general, for a lot of the in-game content, he's a really strong unit. Sturdy Stance is available on Halloween Dorcas, so it is definitely not as much valuable now, because Halloween Dorcas has this at 4-star. So you just have to summon him with Grails and you have it. So no point of foddering off Ephraim, I guess, for that, if you are willing to spend your Grails. The next unit is Female Grima. So Female Grima has returned after a couple of months. I think last she appeared was in like November end, I think. So it has definitely been some months since her last appearance. She's appeared on so many Legendary Hero banners, but now Robin is definitely a much better unit in my eyes because of Ether Raids. She can be a really good super tank in like Earth and Light Season if those are like coinciding. You could have Ear on your team and give her the resistance buff, and you could just pair her up with someone like male Corrin, or I guess Legendary Azura. Give her a lot of buffs and she could tank a lot of hits. Dragon Skin means that she's going to be getting those defensive buffs in the enemy phase, and is also immune to archers, which is really helpful. and you can just tank a lot of hits because of the fact that she's colorless unit. So she doesn't really have any kind of weapon strangle disadvantage, and Falchion users aren't really all that common in Ether Raids, I guess, aside from like Splashy Bucket Hinoka when she was a bonus unit, and some like Cloud Myogi users here and there on air, I guess. Grima is also a flyer, so the mobility definitely helps. In general, for like in-game content, Grima can be a pretty decent unit. She does have this encounter built into her weapon, so it does have its merits. Also, Res Smoke is more valuable now, I guess, because of Ether Raids once again, because you can have close counter advantage users like on a Blade 2 minute like Nino, or have Micaiah with close counter advantage. So you could run Res Smoke, and that can give you a lot of extra attack with that -7 res debuff. So that can be really helpful on those kinds of builds. So because of Ether Raids, Grima's value has definitely been increased, and the fact that we have got BC nuts now in the game, so she does not really interfere with their transformation conditions because she is a dragon unit. And for the infantry dragon, she can actually provide them with the guidance support, so that can be useful to them. And with the flying BC nut, she can have flyer formation or run like Hone Flyers or Fortified Flyers, something like that to support them. So BC nuts, Ether Raids has definitely increased the value of Grima, in my opinion, at least in my reviews. The next unit we have is Oshiden Summer Xander. I mean, as far as dancers go, he's the most defensive one out of all of them, and I've had some success with him with the Armor Slaying Dagger if you give it to him from Ryoma. But that's too expensive. Still, he's the most physically defensive dancer in the game, so that's definitely something. And close counter quick repose is fantastic for fodder. In March, you'll be able to fodder him off for all 4 of those skills because you'll be able to inherit 4 skills at a time. So if you do get Xander, you could definitely save him for the March update and then fodder him after that. And close counter, a lot of people did used to say that close counter isn't really all that good as a distant counter before Ether Raids was a thing. And I used to be also one of those people, but now in my opinion close counter has got a lot of value because of Ether Raids, because you could give the skill to a powerful mage like Nino, Micaiah, or Salika, or any kind of Blade Tome mage and give them Vantage, so they can be a really nice sweeper in Ether Raids. And CC Vantage, or I guess DC Vantage users, in my opinion, are the easiest way to reach tier 21. And I do run like CC Vantage Micaiah on both of my accounts. Extremely useful skill for tier 20 and 21 and above. Because those mages with blade tomes and this powerful mages can do a lot of cheese and be extremely powerful. So close counter is valuable skill, but everyone does have a free Takumi. We have Micaiah now, the anti-meta goddess dancer herself. So Dawn Suzu is absolutely amazing, and she's a really great unit to be used for in-game content, for arena assault, for slaying those green armors, and also in Ether Raids on both offense and on defense. On offense, it's really nice to have like another dancer help you, so having 2 dancers can help you, and she can also slay armors and cavalry units. If you're having trouble with someone like Surtr in Ether Raids, then yeah, Micaiah is going to be making it pretty easy for you. But if you're in the higher tiers, 20, 21 and above, then Micaiah can be nice for slaying like horse units. And at that point, like even on defense, she's got a lot of value because she has got Hardy Bearing built into her tome. So a lot of people, as I said, do use the CC Vantage or DC Vantage builds for Ether Raids. So in that case, Micaiah can be a pretty nice solution for your defense team for taking care of that Vantage user because of her Hardy Bearing weapon. Hardy Bearing effect also means that you cannot run Vantage on her, so that's a bummer, I guess. She's one of the best dancers in the game and a really great anti-meta unit for like a lot of content in the game. As I said, in-game content, arena assault, Ether Raids, and it's really nice when your dancer can nuke armors and horse units. And as for fodder, she's got attack respawn, which is present on Winter Cecilia, so it has lost a bit of value because Winter Cecilia does come with that. Attack respawn has definitely lost some of its rarity, I guess, in that regard, but Micaiah merges, unless they give you like extra attack, are probably not all that useful, so you could, I guess, fodder for that. And Resploy is also a skill. And then we have got Halloween Niles. Halloween Niles is one of my favorite Halloween units because of how he looks. Definitely one of the better Halloween units in my opinion. So he's absurdly fast armor unit at 39 base speed and also has decent 34 attack. He's also one of the best users of Special Fighter because of how fast he is. But that's also his downfall because we already have fighter skills like Bold Fighter and Vengeful Fighter, which do let these slow armor units double, like regardless of their speed. So Niles having that extra speed can be used productively with Special Fighter at best. And Devilish Bow isn't really all that good as a fodder. I guess you could give that to like Halloween Jacob if you want to make a tanky build. Swift Sparrow is present on Asala. Attack Speed Link is definitely fantastic with Smite and Ether Raids, and in general it's a really good buffing skill because we do have Defense Tactic and Rest Tactic, so you can make a unit who can give all kinds of buffs to his allies, so that can be done. Then we've got Adrift male Corrin, who's also a really good dragon unit, pretty much better than Noe, but he is a 5-star exclusive, so there's that. Draconic Rage is a fantastic weapon, and Null Follow Up is a really coveted skill. Overall a powerful unit, but the only thing is that he does have lowish resistance, and you cannot really refine his weapon, so you kind of have to deal with that. Unless you run Lightning Breath and refine it, that's also an option. And you could also give him like Light Blessing for Ether Raids or something to increase his resistance. But other than that, he's a solid dragon unit. Null Follow Up is an amazing skill for arena usage because you could bypass like Bolt Fighter and Weary Fighter. And Attack Defense Bond is also a rare skill. We don't really have that on any kind of 4-star free unit. And next we have got Adrift female Corrin, such a well-rounded dragon. And she's the highest BST unit in the game who you could give 10 Dragon Flowers to. So she can be the most powerful infantry unit in the game. So that's something because she has got the training stats, doesn't really have the Gen 3 stats. And she's got fantastic stat line. I mean, what can I say? It's absolutely amazing. Her weapon is really nice. And she has got Rally, Attack Speed Plus. Obviously a good skill for arena scoring, and absolutely fantastic on your cheerleaders or any kind of buff bots. Attack Speed Bond is also a skill which she has got, but isn't really the best skill to be used because bond skills in general aren't really very easy to use in the player phase because you need to have precise positioning and you may end up wasting another unit's turn just to get this boost. And then we've got Mikoto, another Adrift unit. Basically we've got all of the Adrift units except for Camilla. Mikoto is pretty much an infantry version of Naribel. They do have pretty similar stat line, and she's got a good 35 base attack. I mean, she's a good healer. Does come with Flash Plus, Brazen Attack Res. I guess that can be useful, but it's a Sacred Seal, and the opportunity cost is a bit less when you use it as a Sacred Seal and not as a slotted skill, but still it can be stacked up. Infantry Rush is also another skill which she has got, and in my opinion it's a bit situational in the sense that it's only working on the infantry units. So in like the best case scenario you've got an infantry emblem team, then for you it's going to be fantastic. And the unit also needs to be within 2 spaces of the unit who has got infantry rush to get that boost. So a decent skill in my opinion, but not a lot of people run like full infantry emblem teams. Good healer, decent fodder. And then we have got this guy. Oh, how can anyone forget him? So if you didn't really get him from the Fire and Ice banner, then this is a pretty good chance, I guess, of getting him. And by good chance, I mean there are 2 other units who are sharing his color. So yeah, it's good as it gets, man. having those pity breakers. So I'm pretty sure I don't really have to explain why Surtr is a strong unit. Steady stands for Sinmara. Absolutely insane. Surtr's Menace. A really good unit actually for the people who have merged him for babysitting in arena. Because of Sinmara, you could just kite the enemy, just get them at 1 HP and get the kill with like the bonus unit. Also really nice for clearing a lot of in-game content like abyssal maps. Really fantastic in that regard. Also good for Ether Raids, but only up to like tier 19 in my opinion. Because after that, you're going to be seeing a lot of red units, and Surtr doesn't really do all that well after that, but still a lot of people do use Surtr with high merges on light seasons by giving him Light Blessing, so he could be really stacked up. So all you need to do is just smite him into the range of the enemy and just go from there. 10 out of 10 unit and 5 out of 5 fodder because of Steady stands for. Such a good skill, gives you plus 8 defense and also has the guard effect, which doesn't have any kind of threshold condition unlike the actual guard skill. They really need to do something about that. And then we've got Hrid at last. So he's actually a really good cavalier. He can work in both phases because of his weapon. And the biggest strength of his weapon is that he can stop the enemy follow-ups with his weapon if they have got any kind of debuff. And it's not really all that difficult to get a debuff on the enemy with Aversa's Knight, with all of those ploys, shield skills, stuff like that. And he himself has got Freezing Seal and Attack Smoke. Can be useful in Ether Raids, I guess, as a Gale Force Cavalier and also as a tank. He doesn't really rely on his speed to double and can be a pretty nice mixed phase unit who's quite min-maxed for a Cavalier and also carries this encounter, which is a premium skill. So the red pool is absolutely fantastic this time. We have got Micaiah, who's an anti-meta unit. You've got the new shiny Roy, and you've got Hrid, who's a versatile sword cavalier, can work in both phases. And green is the second best one in my opinion because of Surtr, Gunnthra, and Adrift female Corrin. And colorless can be a little lackluster, but extra dancer is pretty nice, I guess. There are many units who are pretty nice in ether raids, like Micaiah, Ephraim, and even outside of ether raids, there are units on this banner which will help you. So overall, a pretty decent banner in terms of fodder and units. Slightly above average in my opinion. It isn't really average, but slightly above average. So we do have some good banners going on right now with this Legendary banner, the Fates Beast banner, and also the Find and Vote banner. In my opinion, Find and Vote is better because of a single unit Legendary Azura. Legendary Azura is a game changer, so that's why if you can pull her, then I would recommend you summoning on the Find and Vote banner instead. Because Legendary Azura after this is probably not going to be featured in any kind of 4-unit banner. She's going to be present on the Legendary banners, and it can be a suffering to get the specific unit you want out of Legendary banners because 2 other units share that color. So in my opinion, you should prioritize Find and Vote banner for Legendary Azura if you haven't really got her. And if you do have her, then yeah, Legendary banner is pretty nice. Depends on your barracks need. Raw is looking like a pretty good unit, but we'll have to see its stats. So that is going to be it for this review. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, then please be sure to leave a like and share this video with your friends who are thinking of summoning on this banner. And if you haven't already, then please be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell, because YouTube is about as fast as intelligent systems trying to release a joke draw legendary hero. So with that being said, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks so much for watching and have a great day.